Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMTrading. Today is July 3rd, 2018, and today is Tuesday morning. So looking at the economic events of the day, starting out earlier this morning at 6:30 South African time, out of Australia, Royal Bank of Australia rate statement. We'll take a look at the Aussie dollar in just a moment. And then later today at 10:30 South African time, out of United Kingdom, construction PMI number coming out. Now, the construction PMI number is not as important, obviously, as the rate statement, but just you do want to be aware that it is coming out later today. Now, another emphasis today, just to be aware for tomorrow is July 4th, which is a U.S. national holiday. With that said, all U.S. stocks will not be trading tomorrow, so just be aware of it. And also the American indices will also not be trading, so just be aware that some of the foreign indices will be affected towards their regular trading session, so just be aware of it. We did send out a mailer, so just be aware that tomorrow is a national holiday in the United States. But let's take a look at the markets and see what's been happening. So we're jumping here into the Euro USD, and as we'll see in just a moment, the GBP and the USD look like they're trading exactly the same. Okay, we had like that sell-off from a resistance level, and now the bounce that we had yesterday, and now we just feel like we're just floating, sideways right now, just no directional move in the interim. Okay, however, we're right in the middle of this upper limit of 116.91 and the lower limit of 115.54. So I would wait until we come closer to one of those two areas until to pick a side, because I think at this stage it's a little bit of a 50-50 chance which way it's going to go, and I'd rather put myself in a higher probability trade. Now looking at the GBP USD, same story. Okay, as you can see here, we rallied, we sold off a little bit, we had this bounce, not as strong as the euro versus the dollar, as you can see. So we're going to look for some sort of directional move. So if it does break further down between the 131.20-ish level, maybe we could sell off down to the 131. However, this has been really very soft, very weak compared to the dollar, so I would be looking for one of them to have a catalyst versus the dollar. Now jumping into the USD ZAR, dollar getting stronger here, and we're back to our resistance levels of 1388-ish level, 85-ish level right here. So just be aware of that. We may get that breakout that we were looking for right here. Okay, and if we do, we could definitely hit to the 1420-ish level, 1410-ish level, as this looks like it's getting much weaker versus the dollar. Okay, so keep that in mind. So if you are short it, just be careful on the upside. Now looking at the Aussie USD, as you can see here, we have like a capitulation situation here. Okay, whereas the euro bounced a little bit and then sold off a little, here we're just really, if you look at a 4-hour chart, we're just bouncing. Okay, nothing really moving us forward on the upside, but just be aware of it, because we've sold off so much, we may get that short squeeze, which we haven't had so far. So we're trading here at 73.41-ish level. So it's really like I said, it's really picking bottoms right here at this stage. There's no real conviction that we've hit bottom yet. So I'd take a look and really be careful in picking a side here. The dollar versus the yen. Okay, now this has been holding firm above this 110.84-ish level, and if it continues, okay, which I'd like to see it do, then I would see some sort of a breakout on the upside. Okay, not to say that we may not get that correction today and finally break this 110.53-ish level. So it's still, hovering and flirting at resistance levels. So I haven't had that conviction yet to pick a side. Looking at the USD CAD, finally bouncing after this massive slide last week. Okay, just be aware that oil is getting much stronger. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. But looking at this, getting this bounce, we may get that sell off just a little bit right here to test this double bottom. Okay, and that might be the end of this short squeeze and continue to sell off down to the 130-ish level. Okay, so that's something to look at. Now, the major play of the week, as I mentioned earlier, in the week, and I've been following this, since the past week, I've been calling this every single day almost, is the sell-off in gold. Okay, we're looking at the price of gold. It's trading at 1238. It was flirting with the 1251-ish level for quite some time. We didn't really break that level, and finally we broke 1248. And sure enough, this was my target by the end of the summer, and I mentioned it even when we were in the 1284-ish level. Okay, and now we're trading at 1238. Now I do believe, that we're making, new lows for the year. So if we're going to continue this rhythm and continue this momentum, we could definitely see it go down to the low 1212-ish level and beat my estimates for the low of the year. Okay, so that could still happen within the next couple of weeks, as you can see that, as we've sold off below this support level of 1250-ish level and 1243-ish level and continue to break it on the downside. Now, looking at oil. Okay, price of oil all-time high 74.55, and like I said, they have an $80 target, and I believe that target will be met by the end of the summer. Okay, we're now in the middle of or beginning of July, so we still have about 8 weeks to get there, and surely within that time frame we could surely make that. I mean, within the last week we've gone up $10 per barrel, just as this rally has, continued, with some velocity and with some volume, okay, which is really important. Now, looking at the JSC, we mentioned this yesterday, it, spiked up quite nicely. It gapped down a little bit yesterday, okay, as you can see here. Looking at a 1 hour chart, excuse me, and you can see that it's trading at 51,455. Now, for this to really solidify, I'd like to see it continue higher. Okay, but as you can see, it's really closing the gap here. So this is really an important level for it to either, continue breaking the, closing the gap and, continue on its upwards momentum, or, we may get that sell-off, okay? So look for that today, okay? That's going to be quite interesting if that unfolds. Now, looking at the Dow yesterday, it looked like it capitulated. Dow opened up on a Monday morning over 200 points negative, and then just ended up the day positive, okay? So that's, those are the type of days where you say, hey, it looks like it's finally hit bottom and may want to, look to, break on the upside. I don't think that we've seen the end of this downwards momentum. Okay, we may see this challenge at 24,100-ish level again today. As we stand right now in the markets, we're opening up minus 40 points on the Dow Jones, okay, and we are going into a weekend tomorrow, a holiday, tomorrow. So just be aware of that as that continues to trade. We may not even be trading so much because the markets are taking into consideration, and most people are already making their plans for vacations. And when the holiday works out in the middle of the week, they'll take off the Monday and Tuesday, and connect those 3 days into a holiday. So just be aware that you may expect less volatility, less volume in the markets because most people are, on vacation. Looking at the DAX, okay, we finally bounced off of this double bottom yesterday. We're trading at 12,279. Now we have a resistance level of 12,300-ish level, okay, and for it to really try to make back some of that massive sell-off, we really need to show some momentum. I think what we'll be doing is trading within a new range, okay, anywhere between 12,500 and 12,245 until there's some sort of breakout, either on the upside or on the downside, but you got to look for it. It's not going to just jump at you. Now, looking at Facebook, this really rallied beautifully yesterday, okay. This was really the one that took us up higher, breaking the moving average earlier in the week, okay, so this is really an important level for this to actually show us that it's, pivoting upwards, okay, and carrying the rest of the market. So usually or most times or many times in the financial markets, you have one or two stocks that actually carry the market higher, okay, and you're looking for that indicator. So right now, it's not happening. Right now, the markets are trading in tandem, meaning the stocks and the indices are trading pretty much the same levels, and there's not much of a discrepancy. So as long as, when you do see some sort of a relative strength in one of the stocks versus the indices, that's a possible entry level. So I would look, looking at the Facebook, looking at Apple, comparing it to the NASDAQ to see, where we're going to get that, which one's going to be the leader here. As you can see, looking at the NASDAQ faces, versus Facebook, we're getting that bounce, but not as strong. Okay, so I'd like to see that actually, one of them either, taking it the lead, either the upside or the downside, to give us some cue as to future direction. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.